That for me. I've done it.
It's starting. It is starting.
Is it?
Yeah, you told me to press live, so I did.
Oh, there we are. So I can see the comments. Let's just wait for a few people. Should we try and...
You can see it good.
Let's try and...
Oh.
Oh, what have I done?
Mitchell Edwards is watching.
Hi!
I can't see it. Sorry about that. You might have to push that out.
Are we still out of shot?
Oh, Needle Morgan is watching.
Is that the right way? Lee, can you go on your phone and check my live to see if the angle's right for me?
Jenny Merling is watching.
Lee, can you go on your phone and check my live to see if the angle's right for me? That's it.
You can see everybody now.
Hi Michelle, how are you?
Oh, living.
Okay, there's a few of you joined already. Right, so today I was going to be doing some bows, and I might still do a couple, but I tried towards me. I don't know which way you mean, Lee. Pull what towards me? Hang on, I'm just trying to line up enough and
try that.
yeah. Can everybody see?
It's better, isn't it?
Is it? Okay. Okay, so sorry, we were trying to line up the camera. Okay, so I was going to do bows, and I might still do a couple, but I decided to have a go at Kirsty Meakin's Milky Bath nail, and I've been asked if I can show you how I've done it. I've done it pretty much the same way as she can. So if I show you my finger, that's my first attempt that I did today. It's actually quite effective. So I'm going to go ahead and do one of those. I'm doing it on a tip to make it easier. Well, it's a bit blurry, wasn't it? Can you see that better? Yeah? Okay. Okay. So I'm going to give it a go tonight and show you what we're doing. Right, so what I'm using tonight is, I've got some of these dried flowers. Kirsty Meakin uses fresh flowers, but I haven't got any of those, so I use my dried ones. I'm using these ones tonight, but I've also got in my drawer.
Auntie Tracy said hi.
Hi Tracy. I've also got some of these sorts of flowers. You can use whatever you've got. There's no right or wrong. Just use what you've got. Okay. And so because these ones are quite big, I've cut them up, if you can see, on the paper to fit better. Alright. So I'm using a cover pink. So I'm using Trilogy cover pink. Trilogy clear, and I've mixed some clear and white together to create a milky effect. Okay, right, so first off, so imagine if this is on a nail bed. What I did, I used a little bit of cover pink, just a little bit, very thinly at the cuticle. Just must say, I have buffed my tip to make it stick on a bit better. Okay, so I put just a little thin layer of this cover pink, so it's almost translucent, just on the nail bed it would be, so not on the actual, from the free edge onwards, you don't want it. Okay, And then I put a bit of clear down the rest of the nail. And the reason I've done that, you might have sculpted yourself a tip, or you might be using tips, whatever works either way. I've put a bit of clear on it to use it as a glue, really. Alright, so, and then basically you just pick up the flowers with your brush and start placing them. Alright, there's no rhyme or wrong way. You just put them wherever you fancy, basically. Hang on, I can't pick the blue bit up. It's typical, isn't it, when you're on live? Actually, I think that bit's going to be too big. I'm just going to cut it down. Excuse your language, please. Sorry about that. My husband and son are watching the football. Okay, so I'm just going to place the blue bit on. So I tend to put them on facing in different directions because the idea is, as Kirsty Meakin said, people have milky baths for beauty, and they have rose petals and stuff floating in amongst it. So this is what this is going to be like. So you don't want it all sort of going in the same way. You just want it to look random, which is quite hard, really. Let's put a green in. Who said hi? Samara. Hiya. Okay, so anywhere you want it to go, and it doesn't have to just be clumps. I've got some little individual bits which I think look pretty good. They look like little bits floating. Okay, I think I'll leave it at that. And then what I do, you can use your foam paper. I'm going to use a bit of tin foil. You can use cling film, whatever's at hand, okay? And basically, you're just pressing down. So so there's no lumpy bumpy bits sticking up. Okay, and then you go in with your milky white colour that you've made. Little bits, oh, there's a bit dry bit there. Start again. Little bits at a time. So you've got control. You could use a smaller brush if you wanted. And you put it in and around your flowers. It doesn't matter if it's overlapping on the flowers slightly, because then it looks like they're floating.
Samira said looking good, hon.
Thanks, honey. So I just put it in and around. See, I'm slightly overlapping onto some of my flowers, so they look like they're sort of submerged in the milky water. Remember, whilst working, try and keep your work tidy, because then there's less filing, and you'll be less likely to file away your milky white and your flowers, basically. I forgot that the football was on tonight. I could have arranged to do it another night. You see, so I've got some on full show and some slightly overlapped. Okay. I can show you another way afterwards. I've got bits of dry bits in my...
Leslyn looks amazing.
It looks amazing. Thank you. It's really simple. Sorry, I just nearly knocked it over. It's really quite simple, to be honest. Out of all these fancy bits that I've seen lately, I would say this is one of the simplest ones to do. See, so I'm just dragging it over that purple slightly so it looks like it's submerged. Okay, and you check around to make sure it's all covered where you want it to be covered. So I don't know if you'd be able to ombre it, where it's just the tip end that's like the Milky Bath and the other end is like your cover pink. I don't know. Okay, I want to put just a fraction more here. So you're working very thin and wet with this. So this isn't creating any structure whatsoever. All right, it is pure design work.
Rachel Thompson.
No worries, darling. And then you could go for, I'm using a clear, but you could go for a clear pink. That would look nice too. You can just change it up whichever way you want. Nearly. So I'm just encapsulating with my clear. Should have used a slightly bigger bead. That's all right, not to worry.
Rachel said, Sama, Brian, thanks for inviting me to watch on.
How can that bloke know he's offside? He won't keep him up with him.
That's got a good point. Maitland Niles, the right wing back. He's good attacking. He's already defensively.
So I'm just going to finish encapsulating.
Yeah, very good. Honestly, if anything, he kicked. He needs all she.
What would look nice if you've got a clear pink acrylic mixed with white, so you get a slightly pinky effect. That would look pretty. Thanks, Susan. Sorry I didn't come on Monday night, everybody, but I had a bit of a fall and hurt myself, so I wasn't really up for coming on live. I couldn't move very well. But a bit better now. Okay. So remembering to keep your work as neat as possible, because then it helps with the filing. Okay. Ooh. Just going to check from the side. Yeah, that's not too bad. Obviously, I'll let this cure, but I won't bother filing it because it's just a tip. But you give it your file. But I always do it so all I'm doing with my file is refining and not shaping.
Listen, where did you get the dried flowers?
I believe Phoenix Glitters sells dried flowers and Angie Bond sells dried flowers sometimes. They're the main two people that I use.
Tracy Simmond is watching.
Okay, so that's one done. What I'll do is I'll do another one, slightly different way. And by that time that I can then paint that one, put a top coat on it.
Are you going to get booked?
Okay, let me just get another tip. I suppose you could put glitter or something in them. You know, your iridescent stuff. That would look pretty. Oh, wrong thing. Oh, there it is. But you're less likely to have that in a milky bath, so... Mm? I'm just slightly buffing my tip.
Awesome, thanks you so much for sharing.
No worries, honey. I think where we all do lives these days, let me just get a bit of blue tack, and help one another out, I think is really good. Helping one another out. That's Britain's Got Talent on in the background. Okay. It does when you put the top coat on. I'll show you when it's cured.
Is watching.
Please. Sorry, that's my husband using the wrong kind of language again. Let me just stick this on. It's not wanting to stick. That's it. Okay, let's start again. Do another one. Can we all see still okay?
Yeah, I can see good.
Okay. So I'm going to go back with my Cover Pink just for the nail bed area. Obviously I'm doing it on a tip, so I'm just pretending this area is my nail bed. Nice and thin, so it's almost translucent, but we're just adding a bit of colour to the nail bed. Okay, and then I'm going to add a bit of clear. Actually, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to add a bit of my milky white. So remember, that's white and clear mixed together. Just a very thin layer. And this is going to be the glue that we use to stick our flowers down with. I've got this tip pointing at a funny angle. Never mind. Okay, so we've put a white down first instead of a clear, which was different to last time. And I'm going to do it slightly different. Snip that bit off. You alright, Rosie?
Yeah, just need
Got my daughter helping me again tonight. It's half term, so she gets bored. So I'm just using little bits this time. No bigger bits. And I've created like a line of them rather than... So they're just little bits of the flowers, which is what you would probably get in a milky bath anyhow. Again, we go in with our milky white and put it in and over and amongst the flowers so it's got the appearance of floating in milky water.
Christina is watching. Christina said hi, Mel. Zaza.
Hi Christina, how are you? Okay. Just going to put a bit over that cover pink a bit more.
That's watching.
So yeah, so it looks like they're floating in milky water. Okay, so this time I'll use some clear pink.
Daddy said hi, Mel.
Who?
Dad.
What ratio clear to white? Half and half. 50-50. Because you want it sort of transparent, but not, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't make sense, does it? You want colour, but you want it to be transparent. So you want the white to show, but you don't want it, because white is very pigmented. Right, so I'm going to use a clear pink, so we can see when I top coat it, the difference, if there's any difference or not. It is a very, very simple method. I kept hearing about this milky bath nails and I hadn't got a clue what it was, so I asked. I was led to Kirsty Meakin's video and I thought, oh yeah, that looks quite simple. So I gave it a go. Obviously remembering to keep your work tidy. You could do this with gel too. Alright, I'll get it in a sec. My little helper telling me. Better? Not that bit? No, it's blue tack.
Okay.
Or white tack, whatever you want to call it. Has anybody else tried these?
It's simple yet effective. It's beautiful.
You know, I was really pleased when I did it on myself at how pretty it actually is. I was like pretty chuffed with it, to be honest. Because sometimes when you're doing salon nails and they want wow factors, but you haven't got the time to do really complicated design work, this sort of thing is absolutely ideal. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that set.
Not yet. I'm not.
Sorry? Not yet. I'm not massively confident using acrylic yet. Oh, well, use gel, honey. You can use the gel. Same principle, but with gel. It'll work just as good. There's not much that you can't do that's with acrylic that you can't do with gel, you know. It's the...
Now I've seen how to do it, then guess what I've been practicing tomorrow.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, so I'm going to put them to the side for a minute while they're curing, drying. and then I'll top coat them, so I'll just leave them there. So what I might do is do a couple of bows for you, which is what I was going to do originally. But just do a quick couple of bows. Just putting lids on everything because I've got a habit of knocking everything over. Hang on, I just can't get my lid on properly. There you go, I've done it. Okie doke. Let's fold that. I want to save those 2 bits of flowers. I never waste anything, me. I save absolutely everything. Because you just never know, do you? You can bet your life I throw something away and they go, oh God, I could have done with that. Oh, let's get me tweezers.
Do you mean put them away for you?
If you want to. I'll just fold me a bit of paper. Okay, so... Oh, hang on. That's it. Okay, so... Move my tin foil. Bows. Can anyone do bows? I did these really quickly earlier. That one's upside down. So I'll do a couple of different bows and we'll go from there, really. Is that all right, everyone?
Want to drink anything, Dan?
So I've got some Trilogy colours out. Coral Island, Dusted Fondant, Soft Sand. That's one of my most favourite colours. We'll just stick with those 3 colours for the minute. Some acrylic colours I've noticed don't work quite as well. So make sure, you know, for instance, I've tried using some Brilbird colours to make bows. Actually work as well. So, you know, you'll have to, it's a trial and error to see if the brand that you're using works. Okay. Can you? Right, so, okay, so I'm just going to do what I would call a really basic bow. Okay, so I always bleed mine out at the back to take some of the liquid out. Okay. Get my next bead. So obviously you can either pre-make these to use on your customers or you can do it straight on their nail, whichever way you prefer. Do you know what? I've got that on the wrong side. Put it on my hand for a minute. Let me just turn my paper over. It was on the wrong side. I want the shiny side. I might have to redo that. Okay, and then I wet my brush and then I flatten it like that. So you create the shape before it. A bit like a flower petal, really, this one.
Did you hear? Apparently, all the Chelsea players. All the Chelsea players.
Okay.
And some of the Arsenal players turned up in tracksuits.
Same again. I've probably left that one a bit too late. But never mind, we'll make do. A bit of paper got turned over.
What? No.
Michael Ballack's called Chelsea as well. I did like Michael Ballack.
Try and remember to get them as even as possible. This one's not playing ball because it's
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
almost set. Actually, I think I'll do that one again. I don't like that one. Right, let's get another bead. Lee.
Sorry.
Oh my God. He needs a swear jar. So sorry. Okay, so when your acrylic goes not so shiny, more opaque, that's when you start moulding your bow. Okay. So I didn't wait quite long enough. Impatient. Never mind. Okay. I'm just going to turn it out round so I can work from this angle. Can you still see? Can they still see?
Yeah, they can still see.
Well, that was a fail from start to finish, wasn't it? Never mind. Okay. So you sort of get the gist, and then what I do, you could put a gem in the middle. I've picked up a little bit of acrylic, just bleeding it out, and I create what would look like the knot on your bow. You can leave it as a round circle, or you can shape it. Okay, that's the basic one. You can add towels if you want. That wasn't such a success. Okay, so the other one, which is what that's more like a 3D one. The other one is a 4D one, and I'll just show you. We'll use the purple. Okay, and you're creating like a diamond shape. So basically I pat it to the sort of length that I want, and then I start shaping it. It doesn't have to be an exact diamond, and it depends what sort of look you're going for. If you wanted a slightly more rounded looking bow, your corners would be more rounded rather than more pointy. And then I pat it, we put it back into shape again. Okay, so we'll let that set for a minute, and we'll go to the next one.
Did you want to see Robbie Savage actually say something good for Chelsea?
I don't know why they put it closer. So you just got to stir with the other side.
Obviously, you know, depending what size bow you're doing, that's not quite big enough. I'm going to add a bit more. With how much acrylic you use. And then I shape.
All the front here is all peeled off.
Didn't he? Who played and had two different colour boots on?
Try and keep them relatively the same size. But obviously bows are not totally symmetrical, so It's just your customers. I think Chelsea has just scored. My husband and my son are jumping up and down trying to be silent.
Go.
My head hurts now. I got up too quickly. Ah.
Okay. Okay, so then what you do, you get your wet brush and you put it underneath the end of your diamond and wiggle it from side to side and push at the same time. So you're lifting it up. And then what you do is you then push it over so the 2 points meet. Okay, so that will give you your 4D effect. And then with a smaller brush, I then just push down in the middle so it looks like a natural crease in a bow. Do it again. It wants to be, it can't be totally cured, but it needs to be slightly cured to work. Okay. And I just think if you put a crease in it, it tends to look a little bit more realistic. Okay. So then, again, you can use gems, but I'm just using a bit of acrylic just to show you. Just bleeding it out. And put that in the middle, like that. And then you just manoeuvre your bow into place. Obviously, if you're doing it on a nail, you'd have to lift it up with a pair of tweezers or something.
Prepared to lose. Because he's an Arsenal fan. I was like, I didn't say anything. I went, we'll see. We'll see when it's on. And I said to Josie, if Arsenal do this, yeah, he will mess his Josie's sense to change. Guaranteed. Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like a knot in the middle, and there you have a 4D bow. It's not quite symmetrical, but you get the general gist. So if I show you this finger, I've had this one on for about a week and a half, and I've done a double one, so slightly bigger ones on the outside and smaller ones in the middle. Can you see? So yes, it's big, it's chunky, but I stuck it on with acrylic and it hasn't moved. So yes, so they're 2 basic bows. So let me just go back to my other tips and see if I can, top coat them. Yeah, I can. Okay, so I'm using CC Nails top coat.
What's up with her?
She had food poisoning and they found out something wrong with her kidney.
Oh God.
She's in Guildford Hospital.
Okay. Do this one.
What we play is Chelsea got forward. If we play, they got whack. It's when they start doing the fast balls, that's when it starts getting a bit funny. Hard to control.
Okay, I'm just going to put those in the lamp. Just put my lids on. Anyone got any questions about anything that I've done? I might have another go at that bow quickly, because that's really pants. My poor Rosie dying. She's got bad head cold. Okay. I always push them in to try and keep them the size that I wanted.
He's always been good at this. He always scores harder goals than he scores easy goals. Like that, he scores that a lot else.
Can you just do that another 30 seconds, Rosie? Okay. So just let them set for a second.
I'll give more of a celebration.
And then I turn my brush sideways to create my crease. You can do 2 creases, one either side rather than just a centre one. It's up to you. Okay.
I hope Chelsea don't just go lumping up the field.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay. Finished product. Can you see?
Yeah, they can't see.
Milky bath nails. Okay, so that's it for tonight. Any questions? Ask on the messages or inbox me, that's fine. I'll try and find something to do for next week. Shout if you want me to do anything. Yeah, that's about it really. Thank you for joining me and I'll see you all soon. Thank you. Bye.